Hey, welcome everybody. I've got an amazing guest today on necessity versus commodity. If you're in the online space, you know Anik. You should. If not, you better be following him. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube, pretty much anywhere. He has an interesting story I want to talk about today, but a little bit about his past. He's written 4 books. He's got a fifth one coming out shortly. He's helped over 150,000, I think, coaches in the industry, not to mention a bunch of other individuals that just have learned a ton through free content. I think you guys have, over $100 million in sales. You've done amazing in this industry in 20 years. And so I'm honored and privileged having you on. One of the big things I think we all see is some big changes coming up, right? And that's why I have you on. So thank you again for coming on.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me, Scott. Anytime anyone gives me their audience, which is your most prized possession, I'm humbled. I'm excited to be here, excited to bring value. And like I told you before we got started, guys, I'm an open book. So ask me anything, and I got 21 years of experience, a lot of which is great, and a lot of which is hell. And I'll talk about all of it, and hopefully it'll help somebody.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I got in the space, is because I saw a lot of bad out there, a lot of ugly. You're one of the few people I've just nonstop gotten good from. One of your books, the email lifeline, is something that I just got tons of value out of. Following you online, I'm in your Facebook group. But over the past year and a half, you've dealt with a situation that is probably going to become extremely common in the online industry, and that's dealing with compliance and the FTC. And if anyone hasn't seen it, Anik actually did a 50, 60-minute video going through a breakdown detail of essentially his experience of dealing with the FTC and compliance. And that's what we kind of want to talk about. So, Anik, give a little detail of what that was like working with the FTC, I guess is a good way of putting it, working with.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. So it was like dealing with a 3,000-pound gorilla that rips your arms off and then beats you to death with them. No, I'm kidding. It was painful. It was painful. I'll give you the whole journey. Let me draw a picture for you, and this is how I've been explaining it, and I think it leaves a mark, and I think it's made an impact. A lot of marketers, a lot of business owners, small or big, okay? Because common myth I'm hearing, oh, I'm too small. Only the big companies go down. That's not true. There's a slew of cases against smaller companies, international companies. I mean, there is about a company or two a day right now. You can go to the FTC.gov, check their website, look at the press releases. They are active as crap. They've never been this active, in my opinion, before. But it's not just the FTC. You also have state regulators that are getting more active. You have class action lawsuits that are getting more active. So customers are going after people for like the silliest things. There was a $5 million lawsuit recently levied against Hershey's for their Reese's cups. Okay, during Halloween, they
The
sold
smiley
Reese's
face.
cups. Yeah, the smiley face on the cover of the thing. So it shows the Reese's cup with the smiley face, but when you open it and you pull out the Reese's cup, it doesn't have a smiley face. That's a $5 million lawsuit that's been registered in court right now. It's a little bit, that's probably going to be frivolous, but I'm just letting you know that's a consumer-driven suit. So lots is happening, and so we have to be aware of it. And it is getting more, I wouldn't say the FTC is getting more aggressive. I would say they're getting more consistent. I think they're doing more of the regulations. The regulations aren't changing much. They're pretty much the same that they've always been. They're just regulating now a lot more, a lot more. So dealing with them, what was it like? I want to take you back in my life to 2000 and what is it? 2005. That's when I graduated college. I have a condition called Crohn's disease, and I have a pretty bad case of it. And in college, let's just say I did not take good care of myself. I mean, I worked my butt off. Never went to frat parties or anything like that, but I worked really hard. I stressed like crazy. I took the highest load of classes, had a part-time job, and I was building my online business. And on the weekends, and I drink beer and drink tequila and vodka like most, college kids. I just, not a lot, but enough to kill my body, really, my system, which had Crohn's. I had ulcers. When I graduate, I was super ill. It led me down a path to, at one point, I ended up at George Washington University Hospital for 90 days in the ICU. I was so bad that I was laying flat, meaning if they even tried to pick the bed up just to sit me up, my heart rate would spike to 170, 180. I was getting 2 pints of blood transfusion a day. Finally, they had to do a surgery where they were going to go in me, open me up, take lots of parts out. Okay. And they told my family 50% chance if he wakes up. It's going to be a 10-hour surgery. He's in really bad shape. Family flew in. Everyone who could meet me met me. And obviously I woke up and it was the most painful 6 months of recovery. I lost the ability to walk. I had to literally go through physical therapy. My legs became jello. 6 months later, I have to have surgery again. That surgery goes wrong. 1 month later, I have to have surgery again. Okay, so that was a really rough year. It was a tough year. Where am I going with this? Getting investigated by the FTC was harder than that year. And I say this not as a punchline. That's a genuine, honest truth. I went into that investigation with no white hair. My head and my goatee is covered with white hair. It was stressful beyond stressful. And I like to say also this, it wasn't because of anything they do. I think a lot of people portray the FTC as this evil organization that'll bombard and bum rush you, and maybe they used to do a little bit of that, freeze your assets, FBI raiding offices. Mine was not that case. Plus, there was a ruling in 2021 by the Supreme Court that kind of limited their ability to do some of that. They were very, very professional with me. All right. They gave us extensions whenever needed. The reason it was so stressful is because you go through periods of not knowing, you submit things. They ask you for what I call a colonoscopy of your business. I mean, it's insane the level of money I had to spend, time, energy, people, personnel, just to get them everything they're demanding. And if you don't, then it's a problem. And I want to comply. I want to work with them, cooperate. And you go through periods of not knowing what, and then you go through this whole thing like, oh my God, they're going to talk about me. They're going to do a press release about me. What are they going to say? They say not nice things. How's the industry going to react? 20 years in this industry. Am I done? Am I gone? Am I broke? Am I going to go broke? Are they going to take everything I have? Like, you don't actually know what that does to your psyche. I mean, I have a joke, but I have total PTSD seeing a FedEx package or a certified letter. I don't like them. The other day, my dad tried to hand me a certified letter that had come in the mail, and I was like, I don't want it. I said, I'm not touching that thing. Who's suing me? What's going on? Like, open it first. Tell me what it is. Because that wasn't the only thing that happened to me in that year. In that year and a half, I had issues with some properties we owned. The interest rates were going up, so our tenants started going bankrupt. So mortgage bank started messaging us. We had a property issue in Florida where the state of Florida was going to come after us. It was just weird, man. It was like, what is happening? And the only thing I knew, though, and the greatest thing that happened to me was 3 weeks before I got the FTC notice, my daughter was born. This is our first child. And then during the whole investigation, thank you. So during the whole investigation, we had our second child born. And during that time, what really kept me going was one day my daughter is going to see the outcome of this. She's going to read the press release, but then she's going to see what her dad did with it. And what I do during the next few years gets to become what I want my daughter to learn and who I want her to be. And I'm going to lead by example. So this isn't the end of my story. This isn't the close of my chapter. Daddy's going to turn this lemon into lemonade. I'm going to turn this, one of the things I heard Ed Milet say that was life-changing for me, I heard it on a podcast, and I didn't start listening to Ed Milet till after I got my case, and then I was on the treadmill or something, and I heard him say, your best customer is the person you used to be.
Yep.
And so I was like, maybe this is supposed to be what I do. So let's track. So I started tracking it. Started taking notes. How are they reacting? What are they saying? What are the problems? What are they asking? Because they don't tell you anything, right, Scott? Yep. They don't actually tell you why they're investigating you. They don't tell you if there was complaints, but they do ask questions. They do dig deeper in certain areas. And I was like, let's pay attention to those because that's the closest I'll get to understanding how they think.
Correct.
And so it was painful. It was hell. I don't want anyone to go through with it. And they are active. And you know what? 95% of the players they take down, I'm like, hey, kudos to you. I believe, of course, I believe I was one of the 5% that I don't think I deserved the level of what I got. Was I totally innocent? No, after reading their complaint against me, I'm like, I probably shouldn't have said that. Okay, probably shouldn't have done that. But some of the things they got me on, I just didn't know. And
Yeah.
I've had an attorney, by the way, I had a full-time paralegal worked for me. I have had an attorney for 12 years. I've spent over $1 million in legal reviews. There's some things even the attorneys don't know. So the one main thing I got caught for, the attorney at that time didn't even know.
Well, and there was a lot of stuff you just threw out at a lot of people. And there were three key points there that number one, I want to touch base on and kind of get your perspective of. So if we go really to the beginning of that, you brought up the FTC is not purposely just attacking people, it's just a lot more compliant. Where if we go back, you've been in the industry for 20 years, I've been in for 10 years. We have in the last 5 years more people move online, so there's way more individuals. So you're obviously going to have way more people being investigated, right? So it's not like they're the big bad guy. There's just more individuals out there. When I saw that you were being investigated, it blew my mind because I have never seen one thing from you that I'm like, that's deceptive marketing, or that's just a flat out lie, which we see oftentimes. And so I'm glad that they're stepping in. But it really blew my mind because of how crisp, how clean, how good your stuff is, and how much knowledge you're putting out there. So that was a scary thing. And that really made me extremely nervous about 2 years ago. Like, gosh, do I want to be in the online space? Because if someone like yourself is getting investigated, I see all these other business owners, myself, like, how do I know what I'm saying or putting out there isn't incorrect? And like you said, there's all these little things. It's nothing you did egregious, like flat out lying to people, like, hey, in the next 30 days, I'm going to make you $10 million, right? It
Yeah.
was honest stuff, but you still were investigated.
Yeah.
And so many people hop in the online space or being taught, they hire somebody and they really have no idea. They're not, this isn't even on their radar. And some of the stuff that they're going to put out is going to be incorrect. So I want to dive into some of what you kind of, you tracking it. I know you have a new book coming out. So you're going to go through this, possibly another bigger announcement coming out here in the next 30 days. When you kind of said, hey, I'm going to track it and actually go through, my brain works a lot like yours, very strategic. And you're like, hey, let me see the framework of what these people are actually diving into. Because the scariest thing is when you're being investigated and you have no idea why. I can't even imagine the stress that you had there. So some of the biggest things, like if you two key nuggets that you realized what they were looking at for you and why, what were they?
Hard to get to two. So, and it changes as the investigation goes on because the more they learn, they pivot, right? They start to pivot to areas that they think will serve them best. And again, so what, as would you, and as would I get that. So it starts with their first investigative document, which is called the CID. It's the Civil Investigative Demand. 31 pages with about 32 very detailed requests. Now, as soon as I say that, people are like, 31 pages, 32. Okay, 32 requests, Anik, that's not that bad. One of the 32 requests alone was give us a copy of every advertisement, every webinar, every video, every email, any single advertising tool you've used in the last 3 years. So if you have done your webinar 17 different versions, we want 17 of them. We're a publishing company. We had thousands of ads in our Facebook. We were spending up to $1 million a month on Facebook ads and Facebook and YouTube ads. They want all the ads. They want all the text. They want the videos. They want the images. So that's one of the 32 guys. So you imagine how extensive that is. It took us a year to get them everything, and cost me millions to get them everything, right?
Yeah, that's nuts.
And so it's a very extensive document. Now, in that document, if you force me to say, Anik, what were the key things they were honing in on? Number one, they were honing in on substantiation. Mm-hmm. You've got to be ready. So look, I'll give you an example of a statement that, look, I shouldn't have said. I'm willing to admit now that, of course, I understand the rules. They catch me for something like, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the word for word, but it was like, if you do exactly as I say, give it the time, follow the instructions, and work hard at this, I would be shocked if in a few months you haven't made at least $1,000. Let's rephrase that and make it better. If you do everything as I say, I would be shocked if you haven't had some success. The $1,000 made it uncompliant because now what they say is, oh, So you must have, that must be a typical result. You must have substantiation for that. So give us a list of all your customers that have followed that and made $1,000. And also alongside of that, submit to us the substantiation and proof of them having made $1,000. Not them just telling you they did, but then you need to go get that proof. So substantiation, I recently saw a very influential marketer say something in his Facebook group that I bring it up on all these podcasts. I'm not picking on the person. I have great respect for them, but I really just wish they didn't say this because it's so false. And they literally said, substantiations don't matter. Just refund people and you'll be fine. No, substantiation's the only thing that matters. Like that's the number one area they use that to open the door.
Yep.
Now, once they're in, it's a whole ball game. But the substantiation, they know marketers get excited on a 4-hour webinar and say shit. And they just need to find one thing that they feel confident you can't substantiate. That's enough to get in, right? Now, whether they choose to get in or not, that's a separate topic, but that's enough. That is good enough for them to get that. So substantiation was definitely one of them. Testimonial usage kind of goes back to substantiation because I would show case studies of people and they wanted to see the proof of that and they wanted to see that that was a typical result. You see this, you hear this a lot. Is that a typical result? So substantiation, typical result. That's how we started our journey. Now, the first day they ask, so now I'm going to give you a few clues as to where it went and what are the other areas they dipped into that they were really focused on. So this will tell everybody where they need to focus on. So of course, the typical, my attorneys get a hold of their attorneys and are like, guys, you've given us 2 weeks to give you all this. It's impossibly difficult. We need more time. They were awesome. The FTC said, no problem. We'll give you more time, but there's 2 things we need that we cannot give you more time on. Thing number 1 is we want a list of all your partners and everyone who's earned money from you. Thing number 2 is we want to see all your merchant accounting statements and any communications you've had with your banks, the merchant processing banks. It was abundantly clear what they were looking for. Number 1, they want to see who all has made a lot of money to see if the case can expand and those people can get added in. In the end, they did add 2 people to my case. So if you're listening right now, and you're doing business with all these companies and you're an affiliate for another company and you're making millions or hundreds of thousands or you're making good money and you're one of their top affiliates, if they get investigated, there's a high likely chance that you're going to get pulled into it. So you need to be careful who you're hitching your wagon to.
And that's a very good nugget right there. I started in health and wellness myself. And the reason why I'm bringing that up, because when I first moved online, I used to help people with reversing rheumatoid arthritis naturally. So you talking about Crohn's, I understand that aspect and I understand the physical stuff that you went through there. I was super careful just with my marketing, not saying, hey, I guarantee that you're going to reverse this. I would actually kind of go against it. Hey, these are the results that people have experienced. But during that time, fitness was going through this. Like you couldn't do as many before and afters. They were cracking down all that type of stuff. So what you're talking about isn't just for an online business owner that's like a marketer. It's for everybody online. Everybody is going to have these things. And you think about so many different. So are there any other niches that you've seen stuff put out there that has just made you like cringe, stop, go, oh my gosh, this person needs to stop immediately because what they're doing? Is there anything that you've seen? Because I think there's a lot of individuals that are in different niches that need to know.
Okay.
We just grab our phones. It's like throw a dart. Okay. Yeah. I took a picture of this today. I post these in my Facebook group, but and I always make sure to block out the person's face. I don't want to call anyone out, but this one made me laugh a lot. Okay. The headline reads, lawyers. This is a lawyer talking to lawyers. A proven $1 million law firm growth blueprint can be yours for just $1. Nope, we aren't joking. We're giving away our secrets that helped 86 lawyers 2x their firms. Turn $1 into a $1 million law firm growth blueprint. Grow faster, work less, and profit more in 2024. $97 value for just $1. Dude, I can have a field day with this. I'm not an attorney, but I feel like I should get an honorary degree at this point with what I've learned. There is so much substantiation needed here and so many claims being made. I don't know how the hell the person behind this is a lawyer. This is insane. Yeah. So you name it. In the recent times, in this last week,
They went after a mortgage company. They went after, during my time when they announced my settlement, they sued Amazon. They've sued Microsoft. They've sued multiple pharmaceutical companies for illegal mergers. They went after Microsoft Blizzard, or the Blizzard, the
Yep.
big gaming company. They go after privacy policy violations. Companies that get hacked, they go after them. They go supplements. They just sent out a huge warning notice to I think it's like 700 supplement companies. And they had done this in 2021 to more
Yep.
not supplement companies, and that was a list I was on, but I never got the notice. Um, so Pfizer, Merck, like the biggest pharmaceuticals, got put on that list. Car dealerships, they've come up with a new rule now that they're enforcing over against junk fees, and there are, trust me, marketers online are using junk fees too. So car dealerships, hotel reservation systems, flights, airlines. Spirit Airline just settled a class action lawsuit. I mean, I can go on, Scott. It is all over. Here's how the Federal Trade Commission works. If you are targeting consumers, they're there. So if you sell to consumers, they're there. Now, they also issued a press release, as if it wasn't enough last year, saying, hey, all you who do B2B, we're coming there too, because we're seeing a lot of issues in B2B marketing. But they haven't really brought any major cases yet, so everyone's kind of watching for that. But yeah, I mean, in our space, in the more online marketing space, business opportunities, make money, internet marketing, health and wellness, tons of claims being made. Agora just dealt with a case a year ago for one of their products. I think
Oh,
it was
that as
about
well.
diabetes.
Yep.
It was a health related product, financial investing, crypto. Um, I hate to say it, I'm not trying to be the fear
Yeah, it's you
mongerer
name
here,
it, right?
but it's, you name it, you're not safe. If you live abroad, so the attorney at the FTC who was representing the FTC against me had just finished a case against a company called Mobe, which was a Canadian company. There was no American citizen in it. They partnered with Canada. They've taken down companies in Australia. I mean, small, big, international, whatever. Like the rules are the rules, and if you're not following them, I hate to say it, but you're at risk, right? I mean, you can run a red light and not get caught, right, Scott? I mean, you can
Yeah.
run a red light. You can speed. How many people speed? But how long can you do that before? If you speed on every highway for the next 30 days or 60 days, your chances of you getting a ticket are pretty high. And that's how it works with any kind of regulation, whether it be speeding or marketing.
And that's the biggest, scariest thing about the whole FTC thing, especially in the online space. You and I both know that. I mean, it's a very high percentage. I would say maybe above 90%. If 90% of the businesses had to go through what you did, puts them out of business.
Yeah. Well,
And
and it put
some of the solopreneurs, it could ruin you personally as well.
let's have an honest conversation about my business and why I was in the most unfortunate situation. So Scott, for me, and I do, guys, I don't want to sit here and fearmonger, but in a way I do, because I want to wake people up. And I feel like even before my story, lawyers would show up and I'd be at an event. I'd be like, blah, 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 lawyer trying to do their lawyery thing. But now I'm one of the guys. I'm one of the people. I've never been sued in my life. I really don't think I've wronged people. My refund rate was below 5%. My chargeback rate was 0.67%. Our BBB
Crazy.
rating was an A. We have a $4 million facility I built where everyone knows where I am all day. I don't hide. I'm in front of everybody. We had a customer support response time of 36 minutes. That's all year round, day and night. I had 3 support teams built worldwide, working in 8-hour shifts. I had 120 people I think at my peak in this company. Like, I built a legitimate, proper business, and all the metrics were great. Yet here I sit. And so I do want everyone to be, very, very wary, aware of this. But the case that I dealt with, I mean, so I forgot my original point because I went on this side tangent, because I don't want people to think like, oh, he's here to just fearmonger. But no, if you're violating the rules right now, the chances of you getting caught are heavy, because they're looking, and what happens with every case they take down, it's like they get 17 other people to look at, and then they take 5 of those 17, sue them, and then they get 17 more from all 5. And it becomes this web which they're using to now understand what everybody's doing. So
Yeah. And I don't think it's fear mongering at all. It's being honest, right?
yeah,
Like if I'm blindfolded and walking straight, and I'm about ready to be hit by a bus. I hope you tell me, Scott, stop, back up, right? And that's
Yeah.
really what you're doing. So many people in the online space, they're blind, and you are essentially saving their life. You know, the book right in front of you. Don't say that. Looking at where this is going to be and how things are going to happen over the next 12, 24 months and going forward, how do you see marketing change? Because over the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of different marketing changes that people use. You know, you just pulled one up. Hey, $1 only. This was $100. You know, get it a $10,000 thing for $100, and these ridiculous guarantees, these ridiculous promises. And part of the reason is people had to market that way just to get more clients because so many people are seeing so many ads. So how do you
Yeah.
see some of this affecting marketing going forward and businesses going forward as well? Because it's not just the FTC. It's like, can you actually stand out in the crowd now?
Yeah. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think state regulators are going to want to get into the fun too, because they're seeing that the FTC is having great success in the sense of the FTC is settling cases left and right. States, look, guys, in some level, it's political. Not at the FTC, it's not really political, but at the state level, it's political, right? The AG and all of that, like that's a politically appointed position. The thing that scares me, Scott, is consumers are waking up. If you send someone a text message after 8 o'clock, they can sue you.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that, everybody. If you send somebody a text message, a commercial text blast, robocalls, the FTC just started a whole tirade against robocalls right now, which I'm freaking grateful for, by the way. But God forbid even if your privacy policy and your policy state that it's okay to do robocalls and that the person's accepting it, but a lot of laws of states say not past 8 p.m. Consumers, the amount of class actions are starting to pick up. So consumers are like, wait, why are the regulators the only ones who are getting in on this? We can come together and sue companies. And so my predictions are a few. I think that compliance has been so far some the marketers have had, and I hear this all the time right now. I'm hearing it from people, and it's their prerogative. They could choose to do this, but I'm hearing the whole like, I'm too small. I'll stay under the radar.
Yep.
How exactly do you stay under the radar and market yourself? Because there's 5 ways that the FTC can find you: complaints, business associates. So can you keep your business associates off the radar too? Can you keep every company you're promoting? And yes, guess what? The FTC might just be surfing the internet and sees your ad. Or guess what? A person you just sold could be the 86-year-old father of one of the attorneys that works at the FTC, who gets really unhappy about the fact that you got on the phone and sold their father. Like, all of these things are enough to get you sued. So what's easier? Worrying about all that and trying to fix all that, or just do it the right way? So you
Yep.
asked me a question, right? I think compliant marketing is going to be, it was a pill I swallowed where I think I had like a seizure for 3 months and I hated it. But I literally, this is the example I used when I was talking about it with someone at our company. I said, I feel like I'm going through withdrawal. Okay. So I've been taking this drug. The drug makes me feel good. It's my norm. Now I just found out it's a bad drug. I got to get off of it. And I got to go and I wean off. And for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, life is just not good. I'm not enjoying it. My quality of life is down. I'm not as happy, you know. But then I learned to live in that zone. I learned to get out of that. I learned to find the same happiness, or in this way, in this context, conversions, in a different way. And so compliant marketing is, it's so funny enough. The next book I'm working on is called What Can You Say? And so one of the things that the industry is now commissioning me on, and I'm glad they are, and I'm taking on the challenge with great, great, great pride, is people are saying, okay, fine, you're telling us all the things we can't do. What can we do? Like, this is horrible. The list is so extensive. Like, I feel scared of opening my mouth. And I'm like, all right, great question. It's not about the words. The things I'm being asked from people is, what words can I say? It's not about the words. It's about the model. So right now what's happening is direct marketers, we're used to, like, we're the only business that can go from 0 to 1 million in a month, guys. That's not common, okay? That you have an offer and you launch it and then you start driving traffic and you're just making millions really quickly. Most businesses take time to set up, and you build your customer base, you perfect your product, and you fine tune, and da 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 da, and it takes a year or 2 years before you have. So what I discovered is businesses that can build very rapidly will crumble just as fast. Businesses that take time to build will last through a lifetime. And so a lot of marketers are used to building really fast, and that's why they come down fast. And in a way, I guess that's what happened with me. But now the model, so it's if you want to be compliant, it's not about the words you're using, it's about the model you're using. So what does that mean? Well, you can sell. Some of my best converting sales pages I've ever written right now are compliant. They're selling something low ticket. Why? I don't need all the hype. I don't need all the crazy big promises and numbers to get someone to pay me $27, $37, $47, $97, right? I could do that. Now, once they're in my ecosystem, I have to nurture them. Guess what? I have to be good to them. I have to win them over. I have to trust them. Most customers who have been around me, Scott, do not care if I put a testimonial in or if I put a big hypey result in. As a matter of fact, what you'll find if you start to look at your business is the types of customers you're bringing in off of those types of hypey claims are the worst customers. They're not going on to spend more with you. They're not taking action. And they're probably your biggest pain in the butt in your customer support system. What I'm finding now is the best way to replace hype is trust. Trust is attained through time and effort. So now your business model has to change. So instead of trying to hyper attack, create this one webinar that's super hypey and that sells like crazy and get a customer from not knowing who the hell you are to giving you $1,000 in 2 days, that model should change from introduce yourself to them, get them to buy a self-liquidating low-ticket offer, which can be done in a very compliant way, put them in your ecosystem, serve them, whether it be through Facebook community, through podcasts, through content, through social media, deliver value to them to the point where they're like, man, Scott's awesome. He knows his stuff. And then when Scott comes out with that 6-week cohort-based $1,000 program he's doing, they're already 80% sold because of who you are. Yep. And then you're just focusing on telling them what it is instead of all of that hype. And there's going to be a ton of people, Scott, that don't want to do that because it's work. So the days of the free money, they're going and they should go. And it's not just because of the regulators. I have something I want to tell everybody here right now. I have a good message. So I jokingly say I'm here to spread the good message of compliance. Most of you listening, you'll never get sued by the FTC or state regulators. They don't have enough bandwidth or time. You know who I worry about a lot? Consumers. Because there's a lot of lawyers and there's a lot of consumers, and it just takes you saying one little thing. So I think we're going to see an uptick in these legal issues, and I think we're going to see the people that want to do it the easy, fast way, they're going to phase out because that's not the way to do it. So long term, I just saw today another friend of mine made a prediction. I made a prediction video at the end of last year for 2024, where one of my top 5 predictions was the importance of community in this year. I think any company marketer not doing community is gonna hurt from it. I saw another prediction today from someone else saying the same thing. The best way to win trust and replace hype is community. So the compliant marketing model, that's a real high level summary of it. And that's what I'm doing now. And man, I love it. It's slower, yes, but I go to bed every night feeling great. And usually I'll get 2 or 3 messages a day from people that are like, you changed my life. I never used to get that. And I was getting thousands of customers a month. But we're doing it the right way now. We're building something that's concrete, and I don't go to bed at night worried about being hit by regulators.
I love that you just said that. When I started working with clients where I am now, where helping online business owners basically set up systems and structures and those for a 7-8 figure business, I work with everyone. It's either done for you and you work with me one-on-one. And I love that more than anything. I love having this type of conversation with a client and because I've always had better success that way.
Yep.
It's really interesting. You brought something up just a few minutes ago that I think is really important for some people to understand. When you talked about have auto dialers or text messages going after 8 p.m., what's one of the biggest things happening right now in 2023 and 2024? AI and automation.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. What you said is so true. It's nuts how many text messages I get from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning from professional marketers, right? and how, like you said, I could immediately
You could,
call and have them investigated or fined or whatever. And a lot of people are going to these automations thinking
yeah.
like this system's going to save my life, when in reality it might turn more people away. Like I don't like getting text message at 10 o'clock. And your
No.
point of community building trust, again, I've done that my whole life as a personal trainer, started in restaurants when I was like 15. My greatest successes have always been when I'm working with people one-on-one or smaller group. That's why I like my business model. Like you said, I might not go from zero to $1 million in a month or a year.
Hmm.
I could grow it there. It's just going to take me longer. But I'll tell you what, I couldn't agree more with you. That's a long-lasting business. And
Yeah.
we all see the ads too of, hey, get into online marketing and make 100K a month in 60 days or less. You grow a business like that, it's going to collapse just as fast. And
Yeah.
in the online space over the last 5, 6 years, you brought up webinars. They used to work like a charm.
Hmm.
People are smarter now. People have been burned. And that's why you need to have that community. People need to know you and trust you. It's very hard now to get someone to watch 30 minutes, 60 minutes of your content and think they're going to invest anything with you. It could be $100, it could be $1,000, it'd be 20,000. It doesn't matter. But you're 47, and I see the industry shifting that way a lot. So I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more with you at all. So looking at the compliance stuff, did you go low ticket just because of compliance, or also because you saw a shift in overall marketing benefits as well?
Mm. Good questions, man. You ask good questions.
Thanks.
No, not just because of compliance. Actually, I'm the low ticket guy. And if you look back at my history, it's so freaking ironic that I would get sued. In a way, I always wonder if I law of attracted them right to myself. But I was worried about the FTC from day one, man. I used to sweat bullets about them, even when I was only doing a 500,000 a year, back God knows how long ago. I was Mr. Low Ticket. Low Ticket's been my jam. And
Yeah.
ironically, recurring has been my jam. So I was the guy. We go back 15 years. I was the guy doing product launches where I would give, in one product launch, we'd have 15,000 trial plus DVDs sold in a launch in the marketing community, which was like unheard of at the time, that were rebilling at $100 a month.
Yep.
So, and I, of course I would know 40% would cancel, but I mean, I would start at 1 million a month rebills, right? And then I did a ton of VSL based business on low ticket. So I was all about the free plus shipping book offer, had sold God knows how many tens of thousands of copies of books doing that.
I need to
Um,
ask, did you start, were you the one that invented that?
no, 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 I
Okay, I was
definitely
just curious because
wasn't.
you're one of the
Yeah.
first people I saw using that model,
Yeah,
and I
no,
love that reoccurring model. I was just kind of curious.
I don't know where I got it from. I will say there's certain marketing models with webinars that I invented. I did not invent the webinar, but there's certain launch models. I definitely like after PLF came out by Jeff Walker, I really embraced launching. And so there are different ways that people launch even till today that I could say like, yes, I was the originator of some of those, um, but no, low ticket for me was big. So I used to do a lot of continuity, free trial plus continuity. Never had a problem, by the way. Again, always ran a great customer support team, refunded people chargebacks, didn't have any issues. As I told you before, they asked for the FTC. One of the first things they asked for merchant account records. Dude, mine have been squeaky clean. I've had the same banks for like 12 plus years. I have no communication with them. They don't bother me. Refund rates are super low. Chargebacks are super low. It was like that back when I was doing recurring too. But the bad players started going into the CPA networks and going bananas and doing all this crazy crap that brought the FTC plus other regulatory bodies plus banks down on everybody. People started getting TMF from merchant accounts. I freaked out. So hear this. I freaked out. I was rebilling at like 400 grand a month at this point because, it would go down in attrition. And the offer, I was getting ready to launch a new offer. I was going to get it back up to 1 million. That was my thing. I was so good at it. I canceled everything when this was going on. My bank calls me and says, listen, you are fine. Neither did you make it on Visa's initial list. And then we did a more aggressive secondary list in our bank. You didn't even make it to that. You don't have to completely stop doing this. I'm like, I'm out. So at that point, I went to VSLs, low ticket VSLs, 47, $67 products, did really well with that. Then I moved to kind of a 297, 397 product. And then from there, I found my way to webinars, and I just really love webinars and started doing webinars. And I think that if I were to go back as an information marketer, I think that was one of my mistakes, believe it or not. I love webinars, and I think everyone should do webinars. But to only do webinars and to only do a high ticket business is a mistake. Why am I going to low ticket now? Actually, I've been talking about low tickets since March of 2020. We know
I
what
know you
happened in
have.
March of 2020. I just didn't eat my own pizza. I made it and didn't eat it. I just was so busy doing so many things. Our business in 2020 and 2021 just freaking took off like a freight train. Um, but it's more economically, right? I understand right now there's like a total dichotomy. Half the people are like the economy is great, no problem. Half the people like Patrick Bet David is like shit is gonna burn, the electricity is gonna get shut off, and there's gonna be a nuclear war, and we're all gonna die. So there's like
That's
these
the
two extremes. All right, I sit somewhere in the middle. I, I'm a very practical person. Is the economy going to go into recession and come down? Yes.
Mhm,
Actually,
for
yes.
sure.
Is it going to be this year or next or the year after? I don't know. But guys, go back and look for history of the existence of the world. We have never had a period where we just go up forever.
Correct.
You have to adjust. So that is going to come, whether it's a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. So let's just be logical. So as a marketer, low tickets work amazing during recessions. As a marketer, low tickets work amazing during great economies. And low tickets make it possible for you to do stuff without having to break compliance. So, ergo, 1 + 1 + 1 is it's kind of my favorite thing right now. And I'm going to be doing a hell of a lot of it. Like a lot in 24. I think everyone's going to see me lean the hell out of this because it just makes sense. And so my business is always prepared and irrelevant to economic cycles. To date, I get impacted by it.
One thing.
You know this. In the last
Yep.
year and a half, year and a half, the info space is hurting. We
Yeah,
had
big
our
time.
high days 2020, 2021. We killed it in 2022, 2023. It's been going down. Well, that's because this whole, remember the culture of like book a call and sell them a 10K program, book a call and sell it. So we
Yep.
went to the extreme example of the other side. And it's going to get, guys, people are spending more cautiously. So low ticket would survive that, thrive in that, and survive the bad. So that's why I'm doing low ticket.
Yeah. And when I started in the online space, I started just high ticket, just a webinar. Everyone, video is amazing. I love video more than written any day of the week. It's the way I operate, the way my brain works, the way I like to communicate everything, the way I buy. And that's where majority of the clients that come to me is all they have is that one avenue, and they've seen my high ticket offer isn't bringing in the business anymore, and so they come to me and we craft different lead magnets, lower ticket items, ascensions, those pieces, and that piece that actually helps you build a business that now is sustainable no matter what the economy is doing. And I think it's super important. And so many people do it wrong. Like they do a low ticket that actually kills their high ticket. So there's a lot of variables at play there. I know that you are on a time crunch, and I want to be so respectful of that. You have the book, Don't Say That. You have a new book coming out shortly, What to Say. Any other big announcements you have coming in 2024 that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so Don't Say That is out. The what you can say, that book will take some time. I haven't begun to write it. The outline is finished. But we are fully in on this. So the two URLs where you can follow what I'm doing is don'tsaythat.com. We have an amazing podcast. Every week I sit with my attorney who finally got me through at the end. This wasn't the attorney that I had forever, but this was the attorney that I've now come to learn understands compliance. We have the book. We co-authored the book. We have the podcast every week. We teach and talk. If you buy the book, you get access to our Facebook community, which we support you there. We have an academy that's the compliant marketing model. So basically, we teach you how to do compliant marketing. We have certifications coming out so that companies can make sure they're certifying their employees, their team, copywriters, freelancers, ad buyers, ad writers, all of them. They need to go through telemarketers, big time and very important. And what's really cool is we have a software coming out. So check this out. We have an AI-powered software that will manage the compliance of your entire company. It will monitor every social media post. It'll monitor every ad you write. It'll monitor every piece of copy you write. It'll monitor and listen to every single sales call. And it can actually every day give you pings and notifications of where there's issues. It'll monitor your reputation management on the internet. It'll directly interface with your attorneys. So it can all be attorney-client privilege. It's a really cool software. We're 8.5 months into development. We should be getting our first beta customer up and running in the next couple of weeks. So that's that. And then on the marketing training side, I've decided to simplify the hell out of my business, which is I create amazing partnership with Go High Level. So basically, as long as you enroll in Go High Level through me, you get access to all of my stuff. So that's coming. It's going to be a couple months from now, but that's it. I mean, really, we are focused on compliance. And like I said, I'm here to spread the good message of compliance and get people to not see or face what I did. And I think the easiest place to start is go to don'tsaythat.com, podcast, book, and that's where your journey should start.
You just dropped an amazing bomb on that software. That's
Yeah.
insane. That really is insane. When
Thank you.
So you're going to be accepting beta customers shortly. I know that you're going to have just people lined up out the door.
I hope
How
so.
many beta
Yeah.
people are you bringing in? Is there a
So,
limit?
yeah, because this is nothing like this exists, and we are integrating right now with all the different call cloud systems, which is a lot harder to do than you think. The tool has taken us 8.5 months, has got quite the line. I want to get it right, so we're bringing on about, depending on when this releases, we're bringing on anywhere from 2 to 3 clients a month at max. But we will open it up. So I think, we should be able to put up the floodgates to people by come March or April, and start bringing in more aggressively. But yeah, I mean, right now it's like every week we're adding new things into it. But my mission, my goal, my dream with this tool is that you don't have to sit and stress. So, and then your team has it, right? So you have sub accounts and your team can come in there, and if they're writing copy or if they're creating VSLs, they can. Sales managers, you no longer have to listen to calls. You don't have to spot check sales calls. It will listen to every sales call. It will score every sales call. You can put alerts in. So as soon as little Petey says that one claim he's not supposed to, the sales manager gets a notification that says little Pete's at it again. And so it's a godsend for VP of sales and for sales managers. We've got companies as big as 100 million a year right now that are just like clamoring, saying, where can we have this tool? So for me, Scott, this is my this is my victory. This is my lemon to lemonade story,
Yep.
right? This is where I want to say, hey, I took the greatest mess I had and turned it into my greatest message, and turned it into an opportunity. So hey, this opportunity may have died. Learn as a company was a publishing company. It was the hardest thing I've ever built, and we were ready to sell. By the way, we were just months away from selling the whole thing, and it would have been an awesome thing. Sure, I lost. That sucks. I'm not going to sit here and think about how I lost. What did I gain? I gained now a company that I think will be worth 10 times what Learn was going to be worth. So,
Yeah, and you wouldn't be a successful entrepreneur the last 20 years without that mindset. Again, honored, privileged to have you on. I can't wait
thank
to
you.
see what happens over the next 12 months. I'm
Thank you.
excited about this new software. It blows my mind to think, because even having that software as a big business or a small business, if the FTC ever did come, having something that you could be like, I have all this in place, what a game changer. But just to make sure there's never an issue is huge. And so again, honored to have you on. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. And everything that you've done. Because again, over the last 8 years, I followed you for a long time. So much of your material has helped me educate myself and become successful. And I know the same thing, it's had a huge effect on my clients. So you've affected so many people in this space. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for that as well.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. And to everybody else who's listening, thank you for your time. If I can ever be of any service, I'm available and active on all the social media platforms. Please reach out. And as I always like to say, Scott, just when life pushes you guys, which it inevitably will, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Thanks so much.
Yep, you're welcome.